So I know this is hyper late, but hey, fucking sue me. Nonetheless, we finally have gotten our first look at the Spider-Man movie coming out, which I think is the first and only movie this year right before Doomsday. So fuck, this is tall orders. Like this is a fucking hefty order for a entry for Doomsday. So this is our setup, I guess, to go into Doomsday. I don't know how much of this movie we're gonna actually have setting up Doomsday. It seems like this movie is gonna be more its own thing, and I'm sure it's gonna be a post credit scene of like Doctor Doom or some shit, where it's gonna add Spider-Man into it. But I don't think officially that Spider-Man's been announced for Doomsday, but he still might show up. No, with these things you never know. You can't really take who's officially announced for being legitimate. But as it stands, it seems like this is going to be a mostly like to itself movie. It's not going to be really setting up any grander future plans. And from what I saw in the trailer, I like it. Like I like that we're seeing a more older, a more aged, wise, nuanced Peter. Because like for a lot of his old movies, he was just like the like a constantly hyperactive, obnoxious, always starry eyed kid who just would not shut up, was always fucking just enamored of everything, always needing like some type of parental figure or like Tony Stark replacement figure. And now it seems like this Peter Parker is at a point where he's been around for a while. He's been through a lot of shit, pretty much lost his whole life. He's a literally a nobody now to everyone. And now he's actually kind of matured. And I'm like, man, we're finally getting a matured Spider Man, which it's funny we're getting that when we also have the Punisher here. And it's just wild. Like, if you had told someone back when the first Tom Holland Spider Man movie came out that John Bernthal's Punisher from the TV show would be in a movie with Spider Man and a Hulk, they would have been like, that's fucking ridiculous. That's never going to happen. If you had told me back then, I would say it wouldn't happen. If you had asked fucking Kevin Feige and them, probably they'd have been like, "Yeah, there's no fucking way we're having that happen." Because I mean, it is kind of funny the shift that's happened. Because back when Marvel was at like its peak, like when the MCU was like riding high with Endgame and Infinity War, they kind of looked down because back then the Marvel television department was like a completely separate thing from the MCU. So like Kevin Feige wasn't over it. So they kind of like looked down on the TV department, and then the fans of the MCU by proxy kind of looked down on the Defenders and the TV show. Like I remember when Infinity War was coming out and then Endgame came out, there are people that are like, oh man, I wish I hope that like Daredevil show up, or I hope Luke Cage shows up, and there'd be people that are just kind of like, oh, like why the fuck would you want them to show up? What the fuck are they gonna do? They're useless. They're from the TV shows. Like there's people just trashing them because they're from the TV shows. And now it's like flipped 180 where now Daredevil's like the godsend that Marvel needed. Like, they've like made Daredevil a fucking center, like a main pillar of everything going forward now. Like, they are investing in all these different episodes, and they're premiering now, like the new, I think it's the new season two, season three, whichever one. The new season of it. So like now they're like hyper embracing all of the Marvel TV characters. Like I think even because even Jessica Jones, she's coming back. Daredevil, he's back, and now you got the Punisher. I think that it could be a fucking rumor, but I think Luke Cage and Iron Fist, I think they might be coming back too. So you might have them back as well. So like we might actually get a full Defenders reunion at some point in MCU, which to say that that's a possibility is wild. Like it is very crazy how the landscape of the MCU has drastically shifted in just the last 5 years. But nonetheless, going back to the trailer, I like the dynamic of this like kind of brotherly dynamic that they have. Like I kind of like, not kind of like, I really do like the fact that Peter Parker, it seems like, is just he's on his own now. Like he's not looking to Frank as like a dad or a father figure, and like Frank's not trying to act like a father figure. Like it's more of just like an annoying coworker, friend. associate type relationship. So like I like that now Peter is actually becoming his own like person, because like for so much of his other movies he was either like being, Iron Spider 2.0 to Tony Stark, or then it was Doctor Strange, and then it was, Nick Fury, and it was fucking Happy, and then it was Aunt May, and it was just always fucking somebody that he was like having to like cling on to. And so now it's like it's nice that he's like actually gotten to a point now where he's on his own, he's matured, because and also he like for a lot of his old movie like the other movies and other appearances, he was just like the hyperactive, starry eyed kid that just would not shut the fuck up for nothing. Who was always just shocked and obsessed with everything and just like taken back by just the simplest things. Like that's kind of how he came off. So I'm glad that they've shed that and he's actually become a more matured, more more nuanced, more I wouldn't say grounded Peter Parker, but I mean yeah, he's like he's been through some shit. Like the dude literally got fucking dusted, like killed for 5 years and came back. So I mean the guy he's gone through some shit. But I'm really curious to see exactly how, because the thing I've wondered for years since the last Spider-Man movie is how are they going to reintroduce Peter Parker into the MCU before a big event? Because like I don't know how, and I guess they might do this. How in Doomsday or Secret Wars they're going to have the time for Peter Parker to show up and be like, "Hey, you don't remember or know me," and then go into like a whole exposition of like who he is, what happened, or anything. I feel like it's just that's way too much time to have to dedicate to that. Like I feel like that's just something you would rather not have to just deal with, and would rather have like figured out beforehand. So I do hope that the movie does like address like him being reintroduced back into the MCU, and like people are like knowing him now, like what his like how essentially like what is the status of Spider-Man now, like with post fucking blank slate Peter Parker now. Like how's he getting reintroduced into the Avengers? Like I mean I guess that's also why Hulk is there, because he could be like Bruce could be his way in, like, oh, I know this kid, I'm his professor. So that's his way in. Like so that could be a smart way of doing it. Now, am I okay? Am I missing something? But was Bruce Banner, from what I remember, wasn't he like fused with the Hulk? So he was like the Smart Hulk thing. Wasn't that like what he was doing? I thought that was like the current Hulk, like Bruce Banner. Like that was his whole. That was the only thing that the Hulk got in the Endgame. Like he didn't get shit in Infinity War, didn't get shit in the Endgame, but he got to get turned into the fucking Jake from State Farm Fix It Joe Hulk, with a fucking 750 credit score. But now in the trailer, Bruce Banner is just a normal Bruce Banner. He's not green or anything. So like that, did I miss something? Now this could be a case of I just don't keep up with all the current shows and shit. This could have been something that was done and spin off or something I'm unaware of. But I don't know. I just thought that from what I remember, like an Endgame, and then even like the She-Hulk show, which I think was recent and that's canon, I think, until they say no. But in that he was the fucking smart Hulk, the Hulk body. So I'm wondering if they're just retconning that and they're just like, yeah, fuck that, we're not doing that, and this is what we're doing now. Because honestly, if that's what they're doing, I'm all for it. Like out of all the retcons and all of the character regressions that they have done and can do, the Hulk is one that the Bruce Banner Hulk needs it. Those two characters need an insane regression and a hard reset. So like I am perfectly fine if they are just wanting to fucking act like the smart Hulk shit never happened, and then starting with like the Age of Ultron Hulk. Like honestly, if they just reset from Age of Ultron Hulk and then just keep the current Bruce Banner, that will be a fucking killer combo. I know that they can't make a full on Hulk movie because of Universal and rights and shit, but if you could keep adding like that type of Bruce and Hulk to other projects, that would be fucking pretty cool, I think. So I'm kind of curious about like what's going on with Hulk and Bruce Banner. Like, is he gonna be like is he's gonna go back to like Bruce being like the main host, and then he switches in the whole? I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of curious how that's gonna play out, or if they're even gonna address it. And then we got on top of that the talk of like rebirth, essentially, like about how spiders like change and mutate and evolve over time. And so it's kind of hinting at like Peter getting like a new form or like a new like abilities, which I'm all for because I don't know because the last Venom movie didn't do too well, and it seems like they're doing a hard reset on the symbiotes and Venom and all that at Sony. So I don't know if this is that might affect this, but I thought that they were gonna actually kind of, and they might still, but I was thinking they might combine the because when Venom and Eddie got snapped back to their universe, there was like a little slither of like black symbiote goo that was left from Venom, and that was like a tease for the black, the symbiote suit, which Spider Man will get. That was like the idea. So they might have just fucking dropped that, like among the other 10,000 things they've dropped. But I'd like for that to come back. I'd like to see that come back. And one other thing I kind of do like about this, and it seems like this might go to be like a little bit more of a grand scale type deal. I do like how Spider Man is staying to being a street level character, and I like how there's also been more focus on the street level from the Daredevil show, the Spider Man movie. Like I don't know. Like I feel like Marvel for so long was just caught up in the grand world ending, universe ending, multiverse ending, omniverse ending shit that it was nice just to have like the issue be a problem of the block, like some fucking you know great gang lord or some fucking espionage, local espionage or some fucking heist that's going on or corruption or systemic corruption through the city or something like things like that. Like, it's nice to kind of have a balance. Like I feel if Marvel can find the sweet spot of having just enough grounded, like Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man, Defenders, and then like having like your cosmic stuff of like the Guardians and Thor and Captain Marvel and all of them. Like I feel like that would be a nice, kind of trend for Marvel to be on. To have like a kind of well-rounded night, mix of grounded and fantasy. Because I mean, I think that's another thing of why people got burnt out with, especially the team up movies, because it was like, okay, how many times can we give a fuck about the world ending or about the planet ending? Well, like every time another movie or show comes out, that's all it's about. So I kind of do like that we're actually focusing on the grounded level. I'm kind of curious about MJ and Peter's other, I forget his name, Ned. Yeah, Ned. I think it's Ned. I'm kind of curious about because Ned, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comics, he turns into like a supervillain. I think is from what I remember. And MJ, I don't know what they're gonna do with her, but like I wonder if that's gonna happen still, like because they kind of teased it the last Spider-Man of like Ned, like kind of like addressing like I think he said something like, "Oh, I'd never like turn against you" or something like that, or I wouldn't become a villain or something to that effect. They kind of teased it a little bit, but since they're back, I wonder if that's what they're gonna do because I don't know. I don't see the point in bringing them back just to have the exact same dynamic before. Like, I mean, obviously they can't because of what's happened, but like, just for Peter Parker slash Spider Man to just come back, and see, Ned and MJ, and then just go back to like nothing happened. I feel like there should be like a very drastic change in their relationship, like the dynamic, how they pretty much like how they kind of look at each other. But I don't know like what they're gonna do with that because it seems like he's like keeping up with them, making sure they're okay, making sure that they're fine. He's like interacting with them. For me, I don't know. I feel like if they're gonna keep interacting, I kind of would like for them to I don't know. I would like for something different to happen than just like they just know each other and he just like keeps running into them somehow. Like it would be kind of cool if somehow Ned does become like a supervillain and he ends up like having to fight, Peter Parker, and that becomes like a major arc or like a major issue for Peter Parker going forward. So I would be interested to see how that turns out. But yeah, the trailer, I mean, it got me into wanting to see the movie, and it's kind of funny because so far, I mean, you can't really use this as a basis, but they have not announced Spider-Man to be in Doomsday, so it's kind of funny. His movie, which he has not been announced for or has like seemingly no involvement in, like his movie is going to be like the precursor for fucking Doomsday. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Spider-Man and see if he ends up in Doomsday or not. But for me, that's all I got in the trailer. And until next time, I will see you guys later.